It's time for Bravo with Sheila, a place to be enlightened, a place to be built up, and always a place to remember that when nothing changes, nothing changes. All right, all right, all right. We are here. We are here. We are here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bravo with Sheila on the Bravo with Sheila Network. How are you doing out there? I hope that everybody is well. Listen, I'm always excited when my brother is here in the house. We've been waiting for him to come back. I'm always excited. I call him our own personal relationship coach. Yes, I do. I kind of steal him for the moment. And listen, if you haven't took your hands and touch your heart, your mind, and your soul and give yourself a bravo wherever you need it, because you have nothing to do but salute yourself and give yourself a bravo just because, and you do not need permission. It's a wonderful day here on the East Coast. It's not too cold, not too warm. We're switching seasons. We're in Holy Week. We're having a good time. But listen, when Reggie Rodgers is in the house, things just happen. And I hope you just have your cool beverage, get your cool beverage, and get ready, because we're about to take off. My brother, how are you?
Hey, Sheila, I am doing incredible. It's a great day to be alive. How are you?
I'm good. A little busy, but I'm good.
We're gonna
Yes.
start. You know what? I'm gonna call you the entrepreneur of the year. You are busy. You're getting it done. I love it, Sheila.
I'm telling you, Reggie, everyone is like, look, this lady is starting businesses at her age. She jumping out there. That's right. Age is a number. I'm young at heart. So I'm going to
That's
do
right.
whatever I feel like doing. And I have been doing a
And
lot.
that's what's keeping your energy young, keeping it going.
Exactly, brother. Exactly. And you, sir, have been super busy. It seemed like a little spark came up under you and you just made your doors just opening up. What have you been doing? You've been doing a lot.
So yeah, today is interesting because I did I taped two shows for CTN just earlier. First taping was at noon, and then we did the second taping at 1:00 Pacific Standard Time. So we taped over for CTN, talked about some dating and relationships. It went really, really well. So that was good today. And so, of course, I
That's
had to
good.
make my way back over here to be with you.
Yes, yes. I'm one of your favorites, right? I'm one of your
Of course, no doubt
favorites.
about it.
I am one of
No
your
doubt about
favorites.
it.
You are one of my favorites. If those of you who don't know, and this is your first time here at the Bravo with Sheila Network, or maybe it's your first time seeing our dear relationship coach, Reggie Rodgers. Look, sit back. This man, through the years of counseling and countless couples, singles, Reggie Rodgers brings a provocative conversation anytime, and that is true. Anytime he is called upon to speak or do an interview. He has such a dynamic background, former pastor, celebrated pastor, or he's an author. He's just a lot of radio shows. He's venturing, to Las Vegas from Philadelphia. Yeah, he left us over here in the East Coast and went to Las Vegas, and that's where he's been. But he was a part of the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, and so he moved to Sin City. I'm not saying it; he said it.
That's what it is. But it's all love. And Sheila, you don't have to go through that whole thing.
I'm not going to read all of it. I just was giving a backdrop to some of the people who have not seen you. We have some folks in the bleachers, in the balcony, or they might have bought an expensive ticket, Reggie, and they're in the orchestra seat. They in VIP. They're over there up in, the YouTube streets call it the bushes. I don't like to put the people in the bushes. They in the VIP. They choose to sit back, watch the program, and not be in the chat. And that's okay. Long as they hit that thumbs up button when they came in. And in the chat, we have our faithful people. We have Anania in the house, Lady Navoa. And people going to trickle in as they always do when you are here. So let's chat. Let's talk. I'm so excited when you're here because each time you come, you share a different perspective, or you break down something where you cause people to think about something they've been parked in or stuck in one thought. And sometimes you give a different perspective on it and then be like, oh, I never looked at it that way. And what it does, it helps people in relationships deal with each other in communication better. It helps people to understand, to come out of the box, that things have changed and we have to relate with one another where we are, not where someone says we need to be from what it used to be. So I'm just excited about tonight. What is on your heart tonight?
Well, I think you said a mouthful, and one of the things that tradition has taught and said and shared with us is that, we're not supposed to be unequally yoked. And so what does unequally yoked mean? What does that look like? What really is unequally yoked? I think that when you bring two people that are alike or identical, then that makes somebody else obsolete. Two people coming together that are alike or identical, then one is obsolete. I really don't want another me. But what I do want is I want somebody who can complement me. So complimenting me doesn't mean I need you to be just like me. It doesn't mean that I need you to think just like me, because people in relationships often have these strong expectations that their partner will be just like they are. And I think that as we are now seeing, that's not working.
It's
not working. So something has to be enlightened, something has to be changed. And so what we've grown to believe is a person has to exhibit the same attitude, the same values, the same perceptions, and the same behavior. But again, that's not working.
It's not working.
Our divorce rate is too high. So one of the things that we know just through experience is you're not going to change your partner's attitude.
That's true.
You're not going to change your partner's behavior.
That's something they have to do on their own, correct?
Exactly. Unless they themselves are motivated to change their attitude or their behavior, then you're not going to change it. I just said this earlier in an interview. The only person that you will have control over in any relationship is yourself. That's the only person you will ever have control over in any relationship. You're not going to change anyone else. The only person that can change, that you can control, is you. Yeah. So having said that, we got to begin to educate ourselves. And this is what I feel like I want tonight's show to be about, because I want us to educate ourselves as it relates to the basic gender differences.
Oh, the basic gender differences,
yes. The basic gender differences, because there are differences that exist between men and women. And I hope that tonight, once we finish this, you're going to walk away saying that, okay, so maybe I need to look at this from a different standpoint, because if I bring somebody into my energetic space,
Mm-hmm.
What that has the potential to do, it has the potential to stretch me.
Correct.
Stretching me means it can take me beyond me, which can open up so many other areas as it relates to who I am. But if I bring somebody into my space that's right where I am, that's just like me, I'm going to stay right where I am. But I think the goal is evolving. It's meant for us to evolve. It's meant for us to expand. It's meant for us to stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens a lot of times is people feel like if they start stretching, expanding, evolving, it begins to take too much away from who they are.
I
So
was thinking that.
they get scared to get stretched. They get scared to be involved. But if you get stretched, if you expand, if you evolve, you may be amazed at what you stretch into or
That's true.
what you evolve and become.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to become something that you've not seen. Our problem is oftentimes we think that we've seen all that there is to see. There's still so much more yet to see, to expand into, to evolve into. So I think that if you're willing to be open this evening, and if you take where we're going, I think it can stretch you. And I think that as it begins to stretch you, it's going to change your perception so that you can see a different nuance as it relates to dating and relationships.
What do that's so good is in saying that, you say like, what does that look like? And you say that because sometimes people, like you said, the fear of doing something that they've never done before, or not really knowing who they are, look at it from a perspective that you're trying to change me. You want me to be like you, when that's not it at all. That's not it at all. The stretching gives you the ability to go and walk and seek and feel places you've never felt before. But sometimes history, culture, all those things are walls that sometimes you have to chip down, especially if you were raised in a home where it's like, do as I say, and this is how it's done, and it is no other way. This is the area. This is the gray area. There is no gray area. What do you do? Sometimes in relationships, so many simple things can be solved if they allow each other to stretch each other. But I think trust has to be a part of that. I have to trust you with me.
Trust is extremely important. But I think not only that, we also have to throw in all of your get understanding.
Mm,
Not only do I have to trust you, I have to understand you, because when I'm able to understand you, then I have a better version of why you are who you are.
correct. That's good. That's
And
really
it's
good.
important that I understand, and all you're get understanding, because when you can understand someone, then you can relate to the behavior of why that individual behaves in that manner,
That's
because
true.
I understand it.
That's important.
And so tonight, that's why it's important, because are men and women really different? Are men and women really different? There's a huge difference when it comes to men and women. And I'm gonna start at the when we are girls, or when women are girls, and then when we are boys, and I'm gonna take it into the fact where when we become adults and we can see how we think, our behavior, what leads us to our differences. Because in one of the stages that I teach in the 5 stages of dating, one of the stages that I teach is dating differences.
Mm-hmm.
So we come into the dating realm with dating differences, because we're two individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And so we may approach sex differently. We may approach the way we solve problems differently. So there are those dating differences that we have to kind of figure out, how do we agree to disagree, but yet not feel somebody's out of line.
Without conflict.
Right. You don't want to create the conflict, because again, I've got the understanding, and all of I'm getting the understanding. So I understand that you behave different. You understand that I behave. You understand that we do have differences. And
Mm-hmm.
so my challenge now, as you're stretching me, is you're stretching me so that I complement your difference, or you complement my differences, but we don't have to compete against each other in trying to compete with our differences.
Yes, that understanding piece, Reggie, is really powerful because I know that I could not like what a person does. I cannot like what somebody did, but I can understand why they did it. Sometimes we don't give that grace where I don't like it. I don't like what you did. I don't like how you did it, but they don't go deep enough to understand why they did it. How did they get to that point to do that? It's a part of grace to understand. No, I really don't like it, but I understand it.
I understand it. Now, is this something that, since I understand it, is it something that I want to continue to know more of? Or
Mm-hmm.
is it something that is just a complete shut the door turn off for me? So
Mm-hmm.
if it is, then I don't have to stay in this and continue to waste my time. But now that I understand why this person is it something that I want to continue to know more of? Because guess what? I have the ability now because I made a conscious effort that I want to remain. I have the ability to complement whatever it is that makes our difference. I can complement it because I
Mm-hmm.
understand how to complement it, because I understand why that person behaves in that manner.
So, what are the main barriers that you find that you deal with in coaching people in relationships? Because I'm sure you see this in all different shades and colors. Because understanding, sometimes people think like, no, I understand what he did. He hurt me. Or I understand what she said. She said it that way. But they really don't understand why and what the root of why it was presented that way. What are some of the barriers that people have that you coach that block themselves from being stretched?
Uh, vulnerability. Vulnerability is a huge one. People are afraid to let their guard down because they've been hurt by so many people leading into this relationship.
Mm.
But one of the things that you have to do in a relationship, in order for it to be a wholesome relationship, in order for it to be a relationship that has substance, have to have something to stand up on. It
Hmm.
has to have legs to stand. That's what creates the substance, because it has to have legs to stand. So if it doesn't have legs to stand, then it's gonna continually fluctuate up and down. It's like I'm on my knees one day because I'm begging, I'm pleading, please, please, and then the next day I'm standing because I'm calm. Then next, please, please. So you gotta have legs to stand on, and again that goes back to that. And all you're getting, get complete understanding, and then only person that you can control in any relationship is you. And you have to determine if it's something that you want to continue to pursue based off of now you understanding why this person is this way.
Yeah, yeah, that's so powerful because I find that in relationships, people become finger pointers, right? The whole finger. They don't do this, is this, right? And when
Yeah.
that happens, you see, I say when nothing changes, nothing changes. Something has to change in order to see a change, feel a change, be a change. And when you change, you learn more about yourself and who's around you. And when you make a change.
Change is defined. I said this. It's funny because I don't think I've used this in a long time, but change is actually defined as the universe preparing us for what it has prepared for us.
Say that
That's how
again.
you That's how you define change. Change is defined as the universe preparing us for what it has already prepared for us. That's change. And
Hmm.
so you have to, again, now that's being vulnerable to be open to receive what it has prepared for us, because now the other person may stretch me into so that I can receive the change that has
Mm.
already been prepared for me.
Mm.
That's called evolving,
Yeah.
right? Because we are always in the state of becoming. We're
Right.
always in the state of evolving. So if we're always in the state of becoming and evolving, we're also always in a state of changing. And change is defined as the universe preparing me for what it has already prepared for me.
Mm.
Change is important.
It is. And it's very important that you're with a person who can accept Because I know, as a counselor, I've seen people come through my office, and when you're in therapy and counseling, people are going to change if they're getting the benefits of the sessions. But when they go home to their partners, the partners at some point see the change. Sometimes the partners kick against the change because they're losing control over that person, right? You see clearly when you make a change that you would normally not see if you don't change. And I've seen that happen many times where a person feels like they're losing the control or the grip of a person that they had on lockdown.
That's why you can't go into a relationship with the mindset or mode that you're going into a relationship to control someone. You don't have control over anyone. You only have control over yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the only person in a relationship that you can control is you. You can't control anyone else. And as we get ready to break this down, you'll see how this works, because it's, as I was looking at this and I looked like it blew me away, because how a girl develops and how a boy develops, right? And so you see the psychological differences. So for example, girls develop the right side of their brain faster than boys. And so when they develop on this right side, what that means for a female, it leads to talking. It leads to a female having a certain type of vocabulary. It leads to how they pronunciate their wording. And then it also leads to women reading faster, and they have a better memory because they're developing on that right side. Now watch when we get to how boys develop, you'll see they clash.
Right.
That's why we have issues, right? Because boys develop on the left side. And so on that left side, we develop on that left side faster than girls. So that means we're visual. And not only are we visual, we have what we call perceptual skills. We're better at math. We're better at problem solving, building, and figuring out puzzles, because we're developing on that right side. So the woman is the talker, and the man is going to go get it. We're already developing in that. And so as you get older, you begin to see a man is a warrior. A woman is a glory producer. A glory producer simply means that in modern vernacular, a woman is a cheerleader. She has the ability to cheer her man on, to get her man to think that there's nothing that he can't do. But if she's got a problem with her man, she's going to come home and that man is going to get stuck because she's not activating her natural role of cheering him to be what others said he can't be.
Wow.
You see it? Yeah. So having that ability makes all the difference in the world, because when you understand a woman can get a man to do anything in the world she wants. We've talked about this before. It's just how she packages it. And it starts from when she's younger. Remember, a woman develops on the left side. She's a talker. She has the pronunciation. She has the vocabulary. She has a longer. So because she already has the ability to talk it through, she can get a man to do anything in the world she wants him to.
Yeah.
Without having to clash. Here's how we clash. And I've given this example everywhere I've gone, because but it's a great example. We clash because you want your guy to make up the bed. He's not making up the bed. You want him to make up the bed, but you say, remember, you're a talker. I'm getting so sick and tired of you. Every morning you get up, you don't make up the bed, and I am sick and tired of it. Remember, I'm a warrior.
Right.
So my defense mechanism is coming up. And so while you're saying all that, now I'm really not going to make up the bed because I'm a warrior. So I'm going to buck against what you're saying. But now, in all my get understanding, she shifts the whole thing and she says, baby, I just want to tell you something. I don't know if I've ever told you, but you are so sexy to me when you bend over and pull those sheets up. I just love to see your biceps and triceps. Every time you pull those sheets up to me, you have no idea what it does to me. You know what that guy's going to do every morning? He's going to make up that bed. You see how she complimented who he is?
Yeah.
She didn't compete against who he was. She complimented him just based off of her changing how she packaged it. She was able to get that man to do exactly what she wanted him to do. So when we understand that, it goes back to, again, I was looking at this. Girl, believe this or not, girls are more interested in toys with faces than boys are.
Really?
Toys with faces. But boys are drawn to blocks or anything that can be manipulated.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's that warrior control again. So again, it starts at this early age. Again, that's that warrior control, because I want to be able to be in a position to manipulate. Now, if a female understands this, it helps her to get the understanding of, why is he talking to me like this? She can shift how he's talking based off of how she responds. Because if she's coming back at him the way he's coming at her, we bucking. But if she doesn't come back at how now he's thinking, oh my God, this one's different.
Exactly.
There's something special about this one. There's something different about this one. So guess what? He's going to back up off of that. Right? So having this understanding is like, I think it adds value. It adds a lot of value to a relationship. You know, and one of the things that I wrote about in one of my books, why do you keep picking the same type of man over and over, just dressed different, but the same type of traits, all that? You keep picking the same guy in different clothes.
That's a dangerous spot. That's a dangerous spot.
It happens over and over and over again. It's because that's the first person that you really had that interaction with, and you feel like that's the first person that began in your development. So you got accustomed to that, and so now that's the type of guy you like.
That's something, Reggie. That when you think about that, you don't know that you're living that until you become a certain age, and you find yourself in a cycle of doing what you're saying, picking the same person that you might have grew up with or whatever, but you don't know consciously that picture stayed locked, that feeling stayed locked, to the point when you become a woman, and I'm speaking from my own experience, when you become a certain age and you find different people you attracted to have the similarities of your dad, you know, or someone you was really your dad, the beginning of what you saw as a male figure, as you're saying, that warrior, that strength. And suppose he wasn't a warrior, he didn't show any of those traits. That leaves you right on this side of your brain to figure out everything. And so you're clawing through relationships, not knowing or identifying your behavior. Why do I keep doing what I do? Why do I keep choosing the same type of men? Right? And you're strong now. You're strong. You got everything going together. But then you realize you're like dating your dad, right? It's like that codependent thing kicks in. It's weird because you're right. That's such an expensive thing that you pay. The price you pay to get through something like that, to figure out, to understand why you do what you do. And some women never get that peace, because they don't allow themselves to. Sometimes they won't go to dissect themselves or be vulnerable for someone to walk through those thoughts. You know, as you're saying that, I'm saying that's a lot of times women go through that because they don't know what they're doing until they get in trouble with it.
And that's why it's so crucial. I mean, it is so important, and we can't stress this enough, that we all take the time to do the work so that we're prepared for what the universe has prepared for us. That's that change, right? So that we are prepared. And so doing the work is so crucial. And doing the work, again, means you take the time to sit down so that you understand what it is that becomes your fit. And that doing the work means I know my deal breakers. I know my deal makers. I know my absolute non-negotiables. most people can't tell you what their deal breakers are, deal makers are, let alone absolute non-negotiables, but they can tell you, I want a good man.
Mm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
what does your good man look like?
Right.
Oh, I just want a good man. Okay, that's so vague.
Right.
Let's define what your good man looks like. Take the time to really understand what it means to do the work. I know my deal breakers. I know my deal makers. I know my absolute non-negotiables. See, if you can do that and define what those are,
Mm-hmm.
again, it helps you now. It
Yep.
helps you now moving forward to be ready for what the
Definitely.
universe has already prepared for you. That's
Definitely.
change.
Definitely.
Because that's changing you too. It's changing
Absolutely.
you. That's what changes the universe preparing you for what it has prepared for you. Because if you take the time to do, it's changing you.
Right. And after so many relationships, like we're talking, that you find out that one type, that one thing is like, at a certain point, you got to wake up. Something's wrong. It may be a screw. You may be 90% okay, but that 10% can take you down. And so when you realize that, that is so true what you're saying. Now I should know what I need, what I want, what I don't want, what I should go towards at this point, because you already spent a lot of time making these errors and wasting time. So you're right. So a lot of people go through a whole slew of relationships and still can't tell you what a deal breaker is. Or they just say, I want a man. Okay, what kind of man? I don't know. I just need a warm body in my bed. I've heard that many times.
Oh, I've heard that a lot of times too.
I tell you.
And then what like why is he so mean to me? Like why does he speak to me like that? Why is he so hard? Well, again, girls are more caressed. At a younger age, girls are more caressed and stroked more so than boys are.
Yeah.
A boy has to come up. His father wants him to be hard. He's hardcore. So, because he came up with that hardcore, and maybe he, his father didn't she he didn't see his father with one woman. He saw his father with multiple women. So his vision or his picture became a man has to be hardcore,
Yeah.
and the more manly, what makes him more manly is what allows him to have more women.
Right. It's a lot of
So
that.
again, getting that understanding, and I believe that sometimes when you can address and you can share that with somebody, a male may not let you see that it's affecting him right there, but down the road, it's in his mind, and you're going to see something. He's coming back later because again, he doesn't want. He still has to be macho,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
instead of constantly bucking heads, make him think.
And that's true because a lot of times, I mean, in this season, we've talked about this many times that you've been here with us, how the day is over where men are being quiet. Men are being very vocal now because, like you said, they were raised that they can't cry, they can't this, they can't that, and they have never been able to really express themselves, right, to the point of feeling with someone, the woman they're with doesn't think of them as weak, right? But again, we're talking about the understanding because if you know your man, you know his strengths, you know his weaknesses because we all have them. But men today are talking a lot about being vocal and saying what they feel, not how they were pretty much raised, where they're bottled up. So rage is in a lot of men because you didn't allow them to be or express. But the woman, what you're saying, instead of you clashing, have a spirit of humility, drop down and allow him to think about and see the change, which causes you both to grow
And
instead of
that's
instead of
that's the expanding, that's the evolving. You see, and when you can get that place of growth, you're both now starting to expand. You're both now starting to evolve. You're in that state of becoming.
Yes.
That's where we want to be.
Yes, that's the only way it happens. It changes for someone to not want to be right all the time, but just show humility. Because if it doesn't matter who's right or wrong, if you're not humble, somebody has to yield. If there's no yielding, it's just clash, clash, clash. Because I gotta be right. You're wrong, and maybe you are not the one that's wrong, but who cares? We're talking about relationship, right? We're talking about a partner and how we love. But it's so difficult, to for people to understand that small piece that I don't have to be right. I'm going, especially like you said, women can get anything from a man instead of being a nag. And I don't even want to use the word nag, but like you said, the clashing has to stop.
The reality of it is a man doesn't want to be loved. That's not his goal in a relationship. That's not really his goal. That's a woman's goal. A woman wants to be loved. A man wants to be appreciated and celebrated.
Yeah.
If you can appreciate and celebrate and you show that to your man, that makes him feel, because see, a man's sense of self is defined through his ability to achieve.
Hmm.
And so if it's defined through his ability to achieve, that means he wants to be celebrated and appreciated. So if you can celebrate and show him that, and you women see these and you say to yourself, I wonder how she got him. I don't see how she got him because he appreciated it and celebrated him.
Yeah, that's a good one. They'll see somebody that's like opposite, like, oh my God, what does he see in her? And you standing there all decked out, like, oh, how did she get him? It's the character on the inside, is how what she expresses to him. Because you're saying that's what men really want.
That's all. That's what he wants. If a woman, when we learn that, when women learn that aspect, oh my God, it makes a huge difference in the relationship. Because since you want to be loved, appreciate it, he will love you. He will show you in more ways. Because now you making him feel. Because again, he feels his self-esteem is all wrapped about in his ability to achieve.
Yeah,
That's
that's
where that's
good.
where his self-esteem lies. He wants to be result driven through his success and through his accomplishments. And you are celebrating him and you are appreciating him. But most of the times you show him you're tolerating him, not
Oh,
appreciating or celebrating. You're showing him you just tolerate him. That's not what a man wants to see.
right, right. And it's so important for us to understand just what how you opened up the show talking about the left side of the brain, the right side of the brain, right? And how we as women don't even understand the power that's on that left side of the brain. We as women don't understand that's where the whole mechanism works. And like you said, we talk, 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 but what are we talking about? And how are we using that particular gift, that left side of the brain that the man doesn't have, right? So we hold the key to get the response. That's what you're saying, that we need and we so desperately want. But we have to present it to where we receive it and not demand it.
Exactly. So don't be so, because you're talkers, you're emotionally driven. Your emotions come out, and then you end up saying things that you wish you not would not have said. You can't pull it back now because you've already said it, and so your emotions got in the way. And now you're so, oh, baby, it was just my emotions. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to say, it. But you said it.
She said
And
it.
so for me, I'm ego driven. So because
Mm,
you said what you said, you emotionally driven, I'm ego driven. My ego is now, and now you just came against my ego and you just said something that just, and remember, I want to be celebrated. I don't want to be tolerated.
mm-hmm,
So it depends on how you respond. I'm going to give you what you want based off of what you give to me.
mm-hmm. And does you think that's the beginning of the chipping down of a relationship? Because it starts out wonderful, but then as you progress, there's this chipping thing,
I
like you.
think I think the chipping has a lot to do with taking each other now for granted. We got each other, and we're not working hard again. It goes back to doing the work. You got to constantly continue to do the work. Although I got you now, I got to do what it takes to keep you.
Mm,
Likewise, and we can't take each other for granted, and that's where a lot of relationships go. They just take each other for granted. He used to open the door for me. He doesn't open the door for you anymore. So guess what? Stand there. Make him open the door. Stand there.
That's right.
Stand there. Baby,
Where you
don't,
stand
you
there,
don't,
he open the
don't,
door, he going looking for you. You still standing
yeah,
outside.
stand there. And don't complain about, you just open over your, just stand there. Do it in a very nice manner. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. You can get what you want from them. It's how you approach it.
Right, right. That's true. That is so true. You're right. You can get, because when people start slipping with each other, then, and that's one thing with me. That's one of the work that I see the deal breakers. We're talking about deal breakers and stuff that I don't compromise with. Once I see that you are taking me for granted, once I feel, now I've seen it now, I'm like, letting you express this, and I feel and see that now this has switched from you not understanding I'm doing this because I love you and I want to do it, not because I have to, or you expect everything. No. When you start taking me for granted, then I feel that you've gotten too comfortable and you don't feel that I'm that special that I used to be because you think, oh, she's not going nowhere. This is how
Yeah.
this is. That's the worst feeling for me, for you to take me for granted and think that you got me so much like that you could just stop doing everything. That's not a good feeling.
And you use the word comfortable. That's where a lot of people get comfortable. But relationships have to always stay accountable, not
Mm,
comfortable, but accountable. There's a difference between being comfortable and being accountable. A relationship always has to stay accountable. It's being accountable to each other. Therefore, the communication line is always open because we're accountable to each other. That's what communication is. A communication becomes a common union. That's the
mm-hmm,
communion between two people. That's that
mm-hmm,
common union because we have that line of communication. We can talk. So therefore, we keep each other accountable. And as we keep each other accountable, that's because we understand each other and we have that clear understanding one to the other. And that is so important. Remember, we started the show by saying, and all you're getting, get understanding.
mm-hmm,
So we have that understanding. That's why we can talk it out. We don't have to
mm-hmm.
buck it out, but I can
Right,
put you in a position to make you think again, and you put me in a position to make me think again, so that
right.
we're not bucking, but we're thinking.
Yes. Do you think
As
it's
we
important?
as we
Go ahead.
think, so we become. As we think, so we
Yeah,
become. And whatever we think about, that's what we bring about. And
right.
that's what we want. We
Mm,
want to be able to expand and
yes.
evolve and become.
Do you think that is really, really important? Do you think that it's important for couples to have a check in once a week or bi weekly? Like just a check in with each other? Because sometimes when you're working, everyone's grinding, they're trying to get to a goal. You got children, you got all these different branches you're trying to build. You lose touch with each other sometimes because of the grind, because of the goals that you have set for yourself. And even without that, do you think it's important for couples to have a check-in? You have family meetings, but I'm talking about
Okay.
a couple, like bi-weekly, just sit down and have a check-in, a real honest, authentic check-in, not the flimsy surface stuff. Do you think that that helps to stay together and glued more together in understanding? Because you said we evolve, and I may evolve quicker than you in something, in a thought. People think you're married in 5 years, you're going to be the same person you was 5 years ago. No.
You won't. I
And
think it's very important. I think it's very important that you keep a clear understanding of each other and what each other is thinking. I think it's important to have those conversations one to the other. Hey, what are you thinking? Where are you? Where's your mind? What's going on? Let's have that conversation. But there again, we talked about earlier being vulnerable enough to have that conversation so that we're not competing but we're complementing each other because based off of what I say, your mind should already go into a thinking mode. How do I complement that? Based off of what you say, my mind should already go into a thinking mode. How do I complement that? That's what keeps the energy vibrant. That's what keeps that vibratory frequency between two people because we're constantly thinking how to better it. We're constantly thinking what can we do to see. My philosophy is I want to keep a smile on your face.
mm-hmm,
if I'm constantly going at this to keep a smile on your face, that means I'm constantly going after how to be creative.
Correct.
See, that's the dating and creating. I'm constantly figuring out what it takes to be creative enough to keep a smile on your face. Oh, I bought you something last week. That was last week. This is a whole nother week. Okay, I want to keep a smile. I bought him something. That was last week. This is a whole nother week. And then I'm not talking about big things.
Right,
I'm
right.
keep the person off. Oh my God, this was really thoughtful.
The thought,
It's the thought
the
that counts.
thought.
See, because it's the thought. I'm thinking.
True. That is so, and it's easy to do. It's so easy to do, but we have to stop, pause, and reflect on where we are and what we're doing, where we headed, because again, life, the way life is happening, it can dissect, break down relationships so fast because you lose touch with each other. And the communication pieces, and I've even seen a lot of where it starts out the gate where two people are together and she's making more money and the balance is wonderful. He respects her position. There's no big great you, little I, little I. But then it gets to evolving and it shifts to where he starts behaving differently because she's continuing to grow and he's not. But they still started out where she was making more and doing more, and she wasn't putting it in his face. She was not making him feel less than. But then he, as the ego, like you said, the man, the warrior, feels inadequate at a certain point. And I think that sometimes interrupts a beautiful relationship because not that they necessarily lost touch, but life shifted and positions shifted. And so, how do you deal with that as a man?
So when life is shifting, I mean, that's what life is about. Life is about a shift. And as one of my mentors always used to say, he would always say, shift happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it does. Shift happens. And God rest his soul, my mentor, Bishop Colin Pearson. But that's what he would always say, shift
Yeah, I love
happens,
him.
right? But as shift is happening, what has to happen with me as a male, I have to always check my ego.
Hmm.
I have to always check my ego because if I don't check my ego will get the best of me. And if it gets the best of me, it's going to get the best of who is ever in my life. So I have to always check my ego because the old saying says, after humiliation comes exaltation,
That's right. It works every time.
right? So if I can check my ego and stay here, then it's only a matter of time. I'm going to be exalted. I might. This is not where I'm at now, but it's and there again. This is where she can come along again, and that's that cheerleading role again. Maybe it's just temporary. It's don't even work, you know. And so we keep that line there. We're pushing each other, and I'm checking my ego. She's checking her emotions because we're working as a team.
Right. Right. Correct. There's
And
so
I
many
know
things.
this sounds so easy. It does. It sound, but it's not. It's work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Relationships are a lot of work. You talked about history. You talked about her story, his story, and those are two stories colliding, coming together, and they're colliding. Whatever was in that story, which
Oh
was
my.
hers, whatever was in that story, which was his, they're
Woo.
all colliding. But then you got to make those, you got to bring it together to create a new story and you got to make it work. So there's a lot of work involved in order to make that happen. Now, here's the other thing about making it, here's the other thing about the work that's involved. I want to change what I said in terms of making it work. We have to be a part of what's going to work because I don't believe we can make anything happen. We are a part of what is already happening. And so now when that universe brings that person into your life, it's something that is happening. You just be a part of how that is vibing and how it is now working. And you just like grab a hold to it and you guys work it together instead of having to make, because you want something that's natural and organic. When it's natural and organic, you can continue to be who you are and you can continue to grow from where you are. But if you come into a situation where you're not your true authentic self, where else can you go but
Yeah.
down, because now the real you has to show up.
Yeah. Oh God, that's another biggie. I always love, love, love. a relationship that allows me to be me, right? And being me, you have to understand me in order to allow me to be me. If you're paying attention, you can really see who I am. But I've been told that I'm complex. And I was like, me? Because I'm not me. But then when someone on the outside kinds of see you the way they through their lenses, and they start to tell you all these different parts of you that they see that you are rightfully doing and being, not negative, just the different dynamics. It's like the average person can't sometimes keep up with me and who I am, because this I'm not just, how you have women who are satisfied with children, homemaker, home, being at home, and they're pleased, they're satisfied, right? Men, a lot of men love that. They call that what, a traditional, I'm not labeling, but the traditional woman that you stay home with the kids, let me go out, let me work, let me take care of you. But then when you have someone like me that can do that, but that's not the extent of who I am. I'm this singer. I'm this person that like to travel. I'm this, I'm out like a butterfly. I'm a people person. I've been told, that I could be complex because of the different dynamics in me. So then people have started out the gate with me and got involved with me. And then mid 1 year, they can't handle it. It's like, but wait a minute. It's like you're jealous, you're insecure, and you, like you said, I didn't see this, but because I evolved in the relationship, I didn't stay as that person you met 6 months ago. You just didn't see all the layers to me, right? And then there's those people that come in and be like, let her be she a little butterfly. She went over there. She's over there talking, secure in himself, knowing who I am, understanding who I am, knowing I'm not a flirt, knowing that my personality is just that personality. They're not threatened. Those are people that take time to understand. You understand what I'm saying? It's just,
Oh, I totally get it. And all you're getting, get understanding. So for you, a guy that, what would work for you is once you've done the work and laid out your deal makers would be somebody who is very, very secure in who they are. You couldn't have someone that's not secure, right? Somebody who's very secure in who they are would really, really work for you. That's going to allow you to continue to expand. That's going to allow you to continue to evolve. What's the difference? Let me ask you a question, Sheila. What's the difference between brass and gold?
brass and gold. The
Yeah.
difference?
Yes.
I don't know. Gold is shiny and brass is rough.
Actually, brass and gold look alike.
They
They're very,
do.
very similar. The difference between the two is one you constantly have to polish.
Yeah, that's the shine. Yeah, the brass is kind of,
Brass, you constantly have to polish.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
having said that, they both look alike. Some people like brass, some people like gold. It just depends on somebody likes to keep polishing. That's great. Then that's what you want, brass. If somebody just wants that's going to constantly shine, and they like gold. So you have to know. You have to know what works for you.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I've had to learn so many things about myself through relationships that where I would be thinking like, well, is there something wrong with me? And I was like, no, it's just the type of person that I need to compliment me to understand who I am. Because the worst thing to do to me is to try to shut me down. The worst thing, I used to come off stage and be backstage, as a singer, Reggie, you understand that world. You have people running backstage. They want to know you. They want to, you to sign your pictures or your CDs. They want, so people are flocking around you, and you have your partner on the side, and you can feel the energy. Like, oh, this is going to be a terrible night because they sitting there showing all type of energy that don't match. And then you get out and you go home, and they like, well, who is that person? And for me, I'd be like, who? I got talked to like 28, 30 people. That guy, the
Yeah.
one, what guy? Right? They keep the insecurity. That means they don't know me. So see, what I have to do with that is I have to plan an exit strategy at some point, because they're going to continually try to push me down and lower me down and take away Sheila to make themselves feel comfortable and secure. And that happened a lot.
It does, and that's why it's so important that as we're talking about the dating and the clashing and the complimenting and all that. That's why it's so important that our audience understands the stages to dating. That's why I wrote Dating and Creating, because I want people to understand those 5 stages of dating, to get to
Mm-hmm.
those 5 stages, to understand, because in that out of those 5, that middle one is that real, it's the tough one. That middle one is when you get to uh, independence versus interdependence, right?
Mm.
And then you get to that next one is those dating differences. If you can get past those dating differences and that independence versus interdependence, then you got something.
When you say the
So
dating differences, you're saying what I came with and what you came with that I believe are my understanding, what I stand on, and he comes with what his. And then we're different in our thoughts on what it looks like for dating. That's where the clash happens. So you're saying
that's
that's where
where
you.
that's where it happens. But if you can get beyond that and realize, okay, it's not so bad. That person's stretching me and allowing me to evolve. That person is allowing me to become. So it's not really that bad. It is we have some differences, but I think that our differences can actually
Mm-hmm,
enhance each other and and help each other to evolve.
mm-hmm.
So that's when it's a plus. But when it's the opposite, it's not a plus, it's a negative. So that's what you have to determine. That's why you can't rush it. Let go through those stages and let those stages work themselves out. Because even in that interdependence versus independence stage is so crucial, because you've been independent for so long. Now you hear somebody, you want to lean on somebody. So that's that interdependence. Do you know how to do that? Does he know how to? Because both of you have been independent for so long. So now you got to work. What's that?
You know, in there.
Um,
Uh-huh. No, go finish your thought.
so, you want to be able to mesh that independence and interdependence. He doesn't want to take your independence away from you, nor do you want to take his away from him. But he also wants you to have your level of independence, but you also want to have that level of interdependence where you guys are working together too as a team.
Yes.
When you bring it together, that's very important, and that's one of that's that middle stage. Knowing how to bring that to make that work.
That's strong. That's powerful right there. It's okay to be independent, but we got to learn how to mesh this thing together, right? And that's work. That's the work you talk about. And they says
Mhm.
yes, someone who can stretch you into a greater you. Mm-hmm.
You know you're in a good situation when the person that has come in your life has, and you can look at how you have become and what you've become, and it's a plus, it's a positive. And when you look at something, what you have become and how you have become, and it's a negative, then you may want to reconsider, is that the energy that you want to continue to remain?
Yeah. And they also says yes, there is comfort in being with a man who sees and hears you totally. Absolutely. So much. It's like you could rest. Sometimes I can't rest. I'll be like, I could rest now. It's not like me feeling, you got to watch what you say with, taking care of somebody else's emotions. I can't. That's why I'm alone all the time and have had relationship just staying by myself because it takes a certain kind of person. See, you told me you have to learn, right? Who you are, what you need, what you're not going to put up with. We talked about this earlier. This the deal breakers. What is the compromise? I know those things, so I no longer just because I don't have a partner, just get a partner for the sake of having a partner, right? Because it's not going
Yeah,
to work because they don't have the capacity for me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't just want to just have somebody to fill space, or
Right.
you don't just want to have somebody just to feel good. It goes beyond feeling good. You want to have somebody that compliments you, and you want to have somebody who is there to accentuate and be an asset and not a liability.
Yes. Ooh, that's good. That's good. Sidebar, real quick. You just put him in my head. Bishop Carlton Pearson. I gotta just say his name because he was so kind to me. And I mean, when you said it, I was like, every time I hear that, he's the kindest, one of the kindest people I've met on this planet. I remember uh, at a Miles Monroe conference in the Bahamas, and they had all the bishops and everybody backstage, and I was alone, and I was out of place. I was back there with them, but and he came right over to me, and he just was so kind to me. He started talking to me and sharing with me, and I never forgot that. You always remember when someone treats you kind, right? You always remember that person that gave you jewels, And I had to say that because he's your mentor, but I had a special connection just from the couple of times I also flew to Oklahoma to take the Purity with Purpose class from his church and got certified. And so when you say his name, I have to say his name myself on this platform. I just loved him so much. A kind, kind man. Okay, we're gonna go, but that was a commercial break.
Hey, that's his spirit. That's who he was, though. That's just who he couldn't be anything different. That was just in his DNA to be that person.
For sure, for sure. I'll never forget his kindness towards me. What else you got, Reg? What else you got? You ready to
I
go? What you
mean,
got?
I think we've touched on a lot to give our
We
audience something
did.
to go home and to think about. I think we've done quite a bit this evening, and
We
there's a
did.
lot for people to absorb, take in, and
We did,
let them
Reggie.
think and let it sit there in their minds.
That was really some jewels because the dating arena needs a lot of help, and especially this new generation. Oh my goodness! Someone told was it my grandson came over and said to him, it was his girlfriend he had when he was 16 years old. She's married now, and he called me. He said, "G-Ma, you know what she said?" I was like, "What did she say?" She was like, "Chad, I feel so sorry for you now with dating and trying to find a good woman. I feel sorry because the women have changed. The dynamics of women have changed in terms of the modern day women, and you got to have a bag. And you got to have a certain amount of money to even go to dinner. You can't take somebody to the Cheesecake Factory. You can't take them to certain places. You can't take them to certain places because they look at you like you're crazy. They want you to spend 500 on a meal, and it's like that out there in those streets. And I
It
was like,
is.
wow,
It is.
it's rough. It's so rough that even the norm of what we used to do in my era, just going to a regular little place and just sit down and eat and get to know each other. Things have shifted so much in the priorities and the value system and people, you know.
It is. It's a different world now. But there's still some good ones out there. There's this is a different world. You just have to be patient. I just think what's caught up to us is the fact that babies were raising babies, and so those babies that raised the babies, and those babies are now grown now, and so it just caught up. They're older, and that's what we
Good,
see.
good point. Because that era with babies having babies and not having no structure or anyone to kind of direct, even if you were young, having a baby like myself. But I had structure, I had a family, I had love, I had direction given to me. Even though I did my own thing in a certain way, I always bounced back to home where I had that
Yeah.
support. And it's a lot, a lot, a lot. And that's so important what you just said. One of the keys to why we are where we are today. And I just hope that that would shift where they say that certain generations dropped the ball. They said baby boomers dropped the ball with this generation. Certain tools wasn't given. I don't know how true that is, but I know it's just a lot that needs to be said and taught to our youth.
But they also say too, though, with every generation comes a revelation. So let's just hope that whatever this revelation is that this generation has,
Yeah,
that they can utilize it for the good and for the
yeah,
positive and for the better, so that we
yeah,
all can continue to evolve and
yeah.
expand and become something greater.
Yeah, and they are, on the flip side, they are. They're more creative. They
Hmm.
know where they're going. They're
Hmm.
innovative. This social media thing, they got it under control. They're becoming great leaders quicker because of what's available to them. So they are definitely pushing forward what we couldn't push forward, and they want more. Like they're vocal in terms of Congress. They're vocal in terms of presidents they vote for. They're vocal, they're paying attention. So we got two sides of the coin. But so I'm praying for all of that to happen. And so
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
YouTube up there. Yeah. So Reggie, I thank you so much. Listen, I know you need to go and chill because you did two TV shows before you ran to do my show. I'm so appreciative that you always come to share and to drop these jewels. I thank you so much, my brother. I do. Those of you want to get in touch with Reggie, He has his Reggie Rodgers at gmail.com. His website is
creggie.rogers.com.
he has great books, and his website has been upgraded and everything. So go and look at all that wonderful information. The next time he comes back, I'm gonna have a slide on him to show everything. We're gonna do a presentation and show slides on him and what his website offers, so that you will actually see a visual. Because he always comes back. He never says no. He always finds a way to fit me in, and I'm so blessed that he comes back. So, brother, thank you so much. I appreciate you so very much.
Thank you, Sheila. I appreciate you for having me. You know, we family, so anytime you call, I'm right there.
Amen. Amen. So, you guys, thank you. We're going to bounce on out. Reggie, don't move. Let's bounce out for a second. And let's just say ciao to the folks. Let me put this as we go out of here. And those of you, I will see you soon. Stay tuned for Dawn B Thursday night. Dawn B in the Bravo with Sheila Network this Thursday. She's having the unsung sheroes. Unsung sheroes. She's closing out this Women's Month. She asked me, Auntie Bravo, could you be on the panel? I want to salute you. I said, of course. So it's going to be a great show. It's 4 or 5 of us that she wants to salute, that we've contributed to so much. And she's doing that on Thursday night. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned Friday morning, 11 a.m. on the Sheila Ingram Ministry Network. 11 a.m. Women of Grace. We are riding through the women of the Bible. We are looking at the common ground and the common thread and comparing and sharing about their lives. We just finished with Rahab. We're going to be doing it this Friday at 11 a.m. on the Sheila Ingram Ministry Network. Go ahead and subscribe to that channel. Please hit the thumbs up button here if you have not subscribed to this channel. We are pushing to 1,000 subscribers. Come on, help us get there. We need you to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We love you. I'll see you soon. Stay well. Remember, when nothing changes, nothing changes. So what you got to do? I heard you. You have to keep it moving. Don't move, Reggie.